Why isn't this kid walking? Why is he still wearing nappies at night? So many things, but in their time, they come back to you. All your energy and effort is for a reason and for a purpose. It is the golden rule of business, of life. No millionaires are made overnight.
What should we be doing as best practice, or at least considering when we're creating content?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question.
Welcome back to Wildly Empowered Women. Today I am joined by Jade Warne, who is a photographer, videographer, Instagram growth coach, and the lady behind Small Business Growth Club.
Okay, Jess, when are you posting that reel? How are we using it? These are ongoing discussions that I'm going to help you build that piece of content that you can repurpose again and again to get more people on board. And when you're working with me, you're not just like, here's your photo, bye.
Okay, the $1 million question that everyone's thinking: how can I grow my audience to 100,000 or more?
Easy. Easy for you, Jess. Easy for anyone who's listening to this.
Welcome back to Wildly Empowered Women. Today I am joined by Jade Warne, who is a photographer, videographer, Instagram growth coach, and the lady behind Small Business Growth Club. I have a feeling that a lot of you listening will actually have already been following Jade for a while. She's a photographer. She's snapped Kate Hudson, Jessica Sarah Parker, Elizabeth Gilbert, Maria Forleo, and more, like a lot of famous people, right? On socials, she's got over 100,000 followers, 10 million views on her reels, and has made over $100,000 selling on Instagram alone. She's going to share her biggest growth hacks on this podcast, and also every week she does in her Instagram growth membership, which I am a part of and I'm getting so much value from. And that's actually how we connected on a more intimate level in DMs in Instagram. She's got 3 children, which is what I really respect and love about her in building her business and being so amazing on Instagram. They're 4, 8, and 15, and her regular clients include business chicks, Oz Mumpreneur, Mums & Co, and most importantly, women in business who she supports with natural scroll-stopping photos, videos, and social savvy content to supercharge their sales online. So she's here today on the podcast. It is such an honor to have you, Jade. As I said, I've followed you for many years and just got so much value from your content. So thanks so much for joining us today.
Hey, thank you so much for having me, and I adore your content too. So
thank you so much. So we are here to talk about monetizing your personal brand and being savvy on social media. So let's just start with a bit of a quick rundown of questions. First off, let's talk content, because this is one that a lot of people get a bit stuck on. How do you create such awesome content so consistently? How do you know what to actually post?
That is such a good question, and it's a great place to start as well, because a lot of people are like, how do you grow more followers? How do you get more engagement? How do I get more comments? And those questions are further down the line. What you really need to start with is, who is my ideal customer? Who am I talking to? And so really physically put yourself in this environment. You're in a room, big room, and every person in the world is in this room. But you will look around and you will instantly know, as a woman, as someone in business, you will know who you will have a good relationship potentially with. There will be some kind of spark, a connection. Someone will be wearing something, or someone will have their hair placed a certain way, or someone will say things in a way that just aligns with who you are. And really, it's those people that we are going out to connect with, to talk to in that big room. And so understanding who those people are, observing those people, is the very first step before you create anything, is knowing who they are. And I think that's what a lot of people struggle with. And I struggle with it myself. So I've got 4 very specific steps you need to take before you even pick up your phone, before you even start taking photos, before you even think of getting followers. It's who do you want those followers to be? Because it will be so hard if you try and go out there and attract everyone in that room. Because I guarantee they'll all be like, meh, like it doesn't work like that, does it? We don't like get along with everyone in a massive room. It's exactly the same.
That's awesome. So once you get clear on, who your audience is, what's your specific process? Like, do you batch content? Do you do content daily? Do you get inspiration and then just quickly on a whim go and create it? Like, do you have a process around that?
Yeah, absolutely. And so one of the things that I do as a mum of three and as a woman in business, this is essential. I do multiple things at once with one activity. So with one activity, I'm creating content, but I'm also researching my ideal customer. So a really easy way to do this, and I'm very specific about this because, yeah, a lot of coaches talk about your ideal client, blah, blah, whatever. We've all heard that a million times. But then they don't actually tell you how to define them or how to go out and get them. And then as you're asking, it's like, well, how do I create content? Well, I've got one piece that does all of these three things at once. And that is called story games. So we all know on Instagram that you can post stories. They're up for 24 hours and then they disappear. And on those pieces of content, you actually have the ability to add an engagement piece, a sticker. That could be a poll, a slider, an emoji, a quiz. You know, there's a few pieces we can play with. And so what you do with your very first story, every single day, you go and you ask your audience a question about them. That is a massive hack because we're finding out about our ideal audience. We're researching our ideal customer, and we're also getting engagement. We're also playing with the algorithm. We're also boosting our traction and our visibility. So that is one massive hack. And I kind of teach this in my Instagrowth Club, which you're a member of. It's part of these story games of incorporating these really simple strategic tactics to help push you forward with your content every single day. So for you, Jess, I'd be going out every single day with, you don't need to be creating content or batching content. You have plenty of photos of yourself, of your life on your phone already. So please, that's one thing I want to help people with in this call. I want to unburden you of this task. You think of getting in front of the camera and creating content. That's why that's down the line. You need to get clear on your ideal customer first. And to do that, go out and ask them questions. Your question might be, what are you struggling with today? Or, how's your business going? Or, holler out. You might even start with something more general and like, who's loving this spring weather? Or, we start by opening up the conversation. We don't just again, back to this room analogy, we don't just go up to people in the room and blast them with our sales message in their face as the first interaction because they'll run the other way. In a room, in a conversation, you ask questions of other people. And it's exactly the same with your content and on social media. That's very much the recipe for success.
Isn't it so novel where we're saying be social on social media? It's so simple, but sometimes we overcomplicate it so much. It's like, be social, ask questions to your followers. Like if you were in a room, you wouldn't just stand there in a circle and not talk. You would actually all converse. So I love that analogy so much. So in terms of, here's the word that I'm sure you knew was going to come up, the algorithm for reach. What is the balance between being original and following the trends? What's that balance that we should strive for, especially when it comes to Reels?
Yeah, I love this question. And a lot of people have strong opinions on this. And I welcome those strong opinions. But here's my take. Trends are a fact of life. Like you're wearing a pink top in this perfectly on-brand, on-trend pink that is just adorable and delectable. And, I'm wearing like a jumpsuit that is part of a big trend today as well. So as much as people wish that they would become, so original on Instagram, we've been following trends our entire lives. And that's a big part of how we communicate our identity to other people. So trends provide us a shortcut to communicate who we are and what we stand for and what we do. And it's exactly the same on Instagram. Trends provide a shortcut. That's not to say that you can't be original or you shouldn't be original, but if you're short on time, then that shortcut is going to help you get your message across a little bit faster, a little bit easier, and help you connect with your people as well. So for me, as a mum of three in my stage of life, bring on the trends. If you are listening to perhaps a younger Instagram guru who has no kids, with plenty of time, is just trying to fill the day with content creation, then of course they're going to have capacity for more originality and more deeper breadth of content and all that kind of stuff. But for us in this squeeze time of life, it's different. And so both can be true at once. Neither one is incorrect or wrong. It's just depending on your season of life, where you're at on Instagram and in your life journey.
Okay, the $1 million question that everyone's thinking, how can I grow my audience to 100,000 or more?
Oh, easy. Easy for you, Jess. Easy for anyone who's listening to this. And it really does start with exactly what I've said before. It's about knowing your ideal customer. That's why it's so hard for everyone, because nobody does that easy thing that I said before. So I mentioned there are 4 ways to get to know your customer, and I actually dropped one already, story games. Ask people questions, and then when they respond to you, respond to them back, like find out who they are, build out this kind of very clear vision of your ideal customer. And then, we have this amazing tool called ChatGPT that everyone's banging on about, but are you using it? And one really simple way to use it is to really define that ideal customer. You and I are going through this week in Instagrowth Club, all our ChatGPT prompts, and I've given you the specific prompt to use to define that person. And it is so delightful to get to know who they are, to hear them described in all that kind of clarity. And, the next one is to ask in polls in Facebook groups. You are an active member of many Facebook groups. I am too. Usually we're out there posting our stuff, buy this, buy that. But how many times are you actually posting a poll and listening to what people actually want, or asking about their objections, instead of just going out and blasting them with my launch, blah, 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 my launch, my product, maybe asking them, hey, I'm about to launch this, but, these are some, gray areas I'm, not sure on in my content. Could you guys help me with it? Really opening up the conversation and always thinking to ask questions, to do research before you jump in with the sale. And that applies as well, asking your previous clients. We're so quick to get the sale and then move on. But how are you nurturing those people who bought from you in the past? How are you going back to them? It's never been easier to fire off a DM or to fire off a text message and say, how you doing? Thanks for your purchase, especially out of sales time. When there's nothing on the line, it's so much easier to nurture those relationships, and it's so much more important. It's always the entire thing. The thread here is thinking about others and putting them first. And that's the key to growing followers and making sales always on any platform. And, followers is just a new proxy for sales, right? Like it's an energetic exchange. It's an energetic spectrum. You get a like, then you get a follow, and then eventually leads to a sale. It's the same thing as a funnel, that kind of thing. So, when you're always, opening those conversations, that makes it so much easier for the follows and the sales going forward.
Yeah, I want to actually give the example of how I bought your course, like your membership, right? I have followed you for so long, learnt so much. I, have recommended people follow you as well because of the value that you get from clearly you talking to people that follow you, right? Like exactly all of the information that you've just given us, all of those tips that you've given us. And when I purchased the membership and you messaged me and said, great to be in the membership, what is it that you're hoping to get from it? I thought, oh, that's a good question. Like it really made me think, what am I hoping to get from it? And the reason I purchased it is because you did a really good post. I can't even remember what it was now, but you gave so much value in the caption that it made me think, if this is how much value she gives in her Instagram, imagine how much value she would give to her paid clients. That's literally the thought process I had. And also I could tell that the posts that you do definitely come from women like me who are building businesses on Instagram, who don't have a lot of time, who just want we just want to learn from experts, right? We don't have the time to go and become the expert. We just want to learn from experts. So when you asked me that question, I also was like, oh, that's a good reflective piece for me to think on. Like, what do I actually want? And also it would have been a great piece of content for you with my answer, right? Like it's just so, I want to emphasize what you've just said because it's so simple to just actually talk to people and create really valuable content. And also what you've said about following and knowing who your audience is, we need to give them a reason for them to follow us. Like, is there genuinely a very good reason why someone would follow you? Because you can't really bitch and moan that you don't have a following if you're not actually giving enough value to give people a reason to follow you.
100%. And it does take energy and effort to find out what are they really struggling with? Like, what are their real pain points? And that's why I asked the question, not only because I want to see you and find out about you, but that's going to help me create better performing content going forward. So that's why at the start of this podcast, I kind of said, I'm teaching you strategies and techniques that solve many problems at once. You know, it's just like eating a muesli bar while you're changing a nappy. We're solving two problems at once.
Yeah.
And we get it done. And I totally agree with you about, you know, growing on Instagram. I think one of the things that many small business owners get really overwhelmed by is they think, I have to have the landing page and the website, and I have to have the email system, and I have to be doing the podcast and all these things. And I really admire you for this podcast, and I'm so grateful for being on it. But, I don't have a podcast, and I don't have all the things like the $1 million landing page and the big kind of email list. I certainly didn't have it when I started. I started really small. I started in the DMs. I started asking people questions, and then I sent them a PayPal link. So I can't underscore in the DMs, we have the functionality there to send voice messages. We can correspond asynchronously, which means we don't have to be on a call at exactly the same time, which is difficult for so many women. We can send a message here, pick it up there, and start to build this business, start to build this income in a way that grows with us. That's incremental. You don't have to go from nothing to 100K to be successful. And that's certainly not what I did. And I don't recommend that to any woman in business. Build slowly in the DMs and step by step.
I love that. And for any perfectionists listening, I think that's going to be a bit challenging to hear, because people do feel like they need to have everything worked out. And it's like the only way that you work out what you need is through in the doing, in the action, being on the ground, actually just getting shit done, because necessity always breeds innovation. If you really feel like it's going to be necessary to have a landing page and it's going to save you lots of time, you'll work that out, from being in the do. 100%. I have to say, in 5 years of me running my business, it's never come down to a landing page ever. It's always been the conversation. I couldn't agree more with that. Yeah, because you're working with a human. There is a human on the other side of that message, and you need to know if you can help them. Not, automation is amazing, but the only reason I clicked on your automation and went into the Insta Growth Club is because I had got so much value from you, and I felt like you were talking to me in every single piece of content that you've done. Like, it still comes down to that, like knowing who you're speaking to. Yeah. Yeah. I like that.
It's so powerful. And I got to say from my side, Jess, as well, like, we didn't have like this big ongoing kind of conversation in the DMs previously, though I do with many different people. And it's one of these things that, energetically, because the thing on Instagram, on social, you never realize how many people are lurking. You know what I mean? You're putting out all this energy, you're doing all the things, and then you're like, why? But then it takes time and it takes consistency, and then it all comes back to you. It is the golden rule of business, of life. No millionaires are made overnight. They toil for decades, and it's the same with small business. You do need to be prepared to toil for a long time, but certainly nothing is ever wasted. It's all energy that goes out. Everyone sees it, and when they're ready, they're able to come back and make their commitment. And that's one thing that I've learned in business. That's one thing I've learned in my parenting, my family life. You're like, why isn't this kid walking? Why is he still wearing nappies at night? Like so many things. But in their time, they come back to you. All your energy and effort is for a reason and for a purpose. And that's why we need communities around us, for motherhood communities, for small business communities, the way you connect with people. Otherwise, we'll give up. Like, it's such a hard job on all fronts, right? Do you feel that as well?
Absolutely. And I couldn't agree more with community. Like, you need other people in the trenches with you. Motherhood and business is such a good analogy, because both of them are the most rewarding things you'll ever do and the most challenging things that you'll ever do. And the reward cannot come without actually just pushing through the challenges and seeing them as character building and making you stronger and learning from them and allowing you to have those things make you a better mum or a better business owner, like, instead of having those be the things that hold you back or slow you down or make you quit,
100%. It is so hard. It brings me to my knees every freaking day. I've been doing this small business game and the parenting game for 15 years. There's not a day that's been easy. There's not a day that's been painless. And yet here I am still swinging. So I think a lot of that thing, if you look at my content and you're like, oh, she's got it all together, or, oh, she's so great. Behind the scenes, it is just as much a battle as everyone else. And so Instagram is really the one place in my life where I get to have a clean room and a clean house, and I get to define who I want to be, right? Tell my story in this beautiful way. And that's why it gives me so much energy to be on that platform. And it's also why I love to support women with photo shoots and with content, because I know a lot of women are out there agitating, really keen to build their audience, to grow their profile, and also to tell their story. Like that is such an important part of it. But perhaps, you don't know the phone skills. You're not sure what angle. You don't look great when you hold your phone up and, all that thing, or you need some images just to get you started, just to get you across the line. So that's another part of my business, supporting women with great photos, because hot damn, if you have ever seen a photo of Margot Robbie or Oprah or Elmo Person, photos make magic. They make you magnetic. So, and that's a gift that I want to give other women in business too.
So let's talk about photos and content in general, the real and raw versus professional. How do you get the balance of that, especially when it comes to reels and the cover photos for reels as well?
Before we go on, I want to ask you a super powerful question. What would it mean to you to make decisions based on your soul rather than your bank balance? Freedom to me means having true autonomy and choice in your life to live based off your values and soul's desires, rather than what you can purely afford for you and your family or what your job requires of you. This is why I've been empowering women for the past almost 5 years to earn more with pleasure, earning your true worth without the insane hustle and with actually having choice in your life. It is so much more about how you earn rather than what you earn. If you'd like to learn more about how I mentor women to earn a time-leveraged income online, selling conscious, health-based products and learning the skills of personal branding and attraction marketing, both very sexy skills to have, then click on the link in the show notes or DM me the word info on Instagram so we can have a proper chat. I love having one-on-one convos with you savvy queens and showing you how this kind of income and our community can help you truly live wildly empowered. Big love, back to the episode.
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. And I think the answer is there's always space for real and raw. Like we all have a beautiful, production studio in our pocket via our mobile phones, and we should absolutely be using that. But, taking selfies every day, taking videos every day is exhausting. And you just get tired of it and you just want to enjoy your day for once in your life. So having a bank of photos and having a bank of content that you can pull from that is aligned with your business goals that you've created, with other people in discussion, that's going to save you the hassle. So it works both ways. I absolutely believe in selfies, but I also believe in professional photos, particularly if you're looking to get people to pay you for something, then you need to show them why. One of the things you said at the start, you need to give people a reason to follow you, to like you. One of those reasons is because you look damn hot or you look super professional, or you're, articulate, the way you tell your story, Jess, with showing your family and, the scenes of you and the script that you've written. Of course it feels natural when I consume it, but that's a script. You've thought about that. You've delivered it beautifully and it feels so natural. It's the same with beautiful photos. We consume them very easily and naturally, but that girl got up early. She put on makeup. She went to a studio. She was working with a photographer. She listened to directors. There's so much that goes on behind it. So I can't stress to people enough that if you want to succeed in this game, then you need both. I don't do this for no reason. I do it because I've seen time after time after time after again, so many people around me elevate their business, supercharge their life with their personal brand. You know this well as well. And this is something that's accessible for any woman in business if she goes out and reaches for it.
I also cannot stress this enough because I have had personal branding shoots every 6 to 12 months or more. In my probably more often than that in my business. And what it does is it actually saves so much time and so much thinking. So I use them not only for reel covers or, as a static post, I also use them all the time in my stories. So if especially, the last 3 months, God, there's been some days I haven't even showered, let alone been, camera ready to go on my stories and talk face to camera. So I just get a whole bunch of photos of me that are professional and I'm writing over the top of them. So it makes it so much easier to create content if you've got a bank of photos, and every photo shoot I do, I have at least 4 outfit changes so that it looks like it's different photo shoots, but it's the same one. And, a couple of hours invested in a photo shoot literally gives me content for months and months and months. And now I've had so many different ones over the years that there's only one that I don't use, and that's because I was blonde, and I'm clearly not blonde anymore. And that's a RIP that phase of my life, and so all of these photo shoots that I've done, and, the more you rack up, the more content you've got to, to draw from, so that it makes your life so much easier. So much easier. I think, sometimes we think a photo shoot's going to take ages, or it's such a big investment. Like, it is an investment that will just keep on, like the return on that will just keep on coming. So in terms of your shoots, how do they work? Tell us about what happens in a shoot with you.
Yeah, so I host group shoots for women in business in Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane, anywhere you want. If you have a different location that you want, I'm hosting one in Newcastle coming up soon because someone asked me. I'm available. I'm around. I know that, sometimes when you see people on Instagram, you're like, that person would never reply, or that person's busy. No, I'm not busy. I'm here to support women in business. This is what I do. And so I have, 60-minute slots, or we can do larger ones. We can do you and a few buddies. We can do reels. We can do professional videos. I give you the images on the spot to post content while you are right there in front of me. Like, there is nothing that we can't do. And so when you think of, pro video dudes or like big teams, no. The best in the biz are mums in business who know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Who are let loose from the kids for 60 minutes. I capture 500 plus images in my 60-minute sessions because I value your time. We're getting you sorted. And you and I, Jess, have been corresponding behind the scenes about this, about using those photos or videos or shots of you to tell your personal story from previously, from your childhood, or even from the start of when you started getting your photo shoot. Being able to show people the progression of you is part of a huge selling tactic that every person in small business should be using, showing a time when you didn't have it all together, when you didn't know what you were doing, versus now when you are more aligned with your ideal customer, when you are working towards serving them, supporting them, striving to, help them. That is such a journey, such a powerful thing. We all people in business talk about, what's your why? What's your why? It's great to have a why, but it's even better to communicate that why to your ideal audience. Because again, think about a big room. If you're there able to articulate and show, the journey that you've been on to get here, it's going to make people pay attention and think, hold on, that girl is exactly where I want to be. Or I've faced that struggle too. Or, I had a tough time in my life or in my business over that same thing. Wow, I really appreciate how she's turned it around. I really appreciate her transformation. And that's the transformation I want in my life too. So yeah, using these photos, when you're working with me, you're not just like, here's your photo, bye. It's, okay, Jess, when are you posting that reel? How are we using it? Have you got a photo of you as a kid or a teenager or 20-something? These are ongoing discussions that I'm going to help you build that piece of content that you can repurpose again and again every 3 months to get more people on board your business.
Such a beautiful and authentic sales tactic, right? It's like the before and after. Like, this is what you get when you work with me. I love that so much. So how
100%. Yeah.
How do we expand our room? If we've got the room, we've got our followers, right? We've got 200 followers. How do we expand our room for content specifically? So is it hashtags? Is it trying to get on the explore page? Is it trending reels? Like, what should we be doing as best practice, or at least considering when we're creating content?
Yeah, I get that question all the time. And I'm like, I'm going to gently refocus you right back on your ideal customer, because I guarantee there are gaps there. And I guarantee that of those 200 people, how many of them did you correspond with today? How many of them did you serve today? Honestly, so we go back there. And then if we step forward a little bit in terms of, content creation, it shouldn't be difficult and it shouldn't be time consuming. I hear a lot of people talking about batching and such, but if you booked in a photo shoot or, worked in any way in that capacity, you should have it on your phone already. Thirdly, are you part of a community? You can post all you want into this random room, or you can join forces with other people who are also building and who also have time, who also, can invest in each other energetically, even if it's not monetarily, right? Have you got a bestie on Instagram who you're constantly sending ideas to and firing each other up? That costs nothing. And that is probably the most valuable resource you will ever get. Someone who actually cares about your content and can actually give you feedback and be like, hey, this was good, babe, but you probably need a CTA on that. You're like, that is worth $10,000, for someone to care that much. And I have a bestie like that. And then I also host my Insta Growth Club community, where I foster besties like that, because I know that that's the game changer. And you can join $1 million masterminds to get feedback not as good as a bestie in your corner for the long term as well. People want results on Instagram, today. But the fact is, you probably need to stick around on it for at least 6 to 18 months to really get like 100,000 followers, right? You need to probably be realistic about that. That's doable, but it's certainly not doable by yourself, right? You got to have that community behind you. You got to be workshopping your content. You got to be like on the game. I definitely say you got to be posting on all 5 surfaces on the apps. That's a big hack that a lot of people don't realize. I know you're really good at this in terms of the 5 surfaces are the feed, stories, reels, lives, and DMs. And, a lot of people are like, I just posted my feed. Where are my 100,000 followers? Or I never go live. Where are my 100,000 followers? Well, like really simple. You got to be posting to all 5 surfaces if you expect massive growth.
Such good feedback. I definitely don't go live enough, and I forget that the feature's even there because I don't watch live. So that's a really good idea for gaining followers and expanding your room. So thank you for that reminder.
Expanding your room.
Yeah. Awesome. So if anyone wants to talk to you about a shoot or look at Insta Growth Club or just learn from you, what's the best form of comms?
Yeah, just holler at me on Instagram. You can see my content. I'm Small Business Growth Club. I have, automation set up. So anytime you comment photo shoot or anytime you comment Insta Growth, you will get sent the details to find out more about it. But yeah, absolutely. Just start on Instagram at Small Business Growth Club. I really love supporting women in business. I'm so delighted to spend time with you, Jess, today. I'm so delighted to have you in the community and, to work with you now. Like, what's going to happen from here? I'm going to end up, doing shoots with you or helping you or supporting a community or going live together or, being on my podcast when I get it done. This is how it happens. We kind of make these little connections that kind of blossom into these larger, bigger networks of success. So I wish that for you, and I wish that for anyone listening, and I wish it for your entire community. But yeah, it does take action.
Yeah.
You hit the nail on the head.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Before we wrap up, very final question. If you could go back to your 21-year-old self, what would you say to her?
Before we wrap up this episode, I want to ask you a question. Do you remember how you discovered this podcast? Was it a friend's suggestion or an Instagram story, maybe a post? Somehow you found it, and I'm hoping you're getting a lot of value from it. I need your help now to pay it forward so that other women can feel seen, heard, nourished, and more than anything, empowered from these conversations too. Big love, back to the episode.
Oh, that is so beautiful. And I feel like my 21 self. I feel entirely different. And the first thing I want to do to her is like stomp my foot and say like, get your act together. And then I realized that's not what I want to do. I want to give her a big hug and just say, you don't need to do anything at all. It's all just happening and you just hang on for the ride.
I love that. That's the best. Thank you so much for joining. Everyone go and follow Jade on Instagram. I promise you will not regret it. So much value. Thank you so much for joining. Feel free to screenshot, tag in your stories, anything that you heard Jade share that was really valuable, and just, get in our DMs, because this is where you learn, and go and get in other people's DMs. And that's how you're going to understand your follower, your ideal follower, and build your following as well. So thank you so much for all of that value, Jade. Appreciate you so much.